Welcome to the Piece by Piece Autism Podcast with your hosts, Angie and Christy. They've worked 25 years to help Alec get the most out of life. Let them tell you how they're doing it.
Welcome back to Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. We are glad you're here. Christy and I discuss all the things that we have learned as we have helped her youngest son, Alec, thrive. He is currently living in Utah in a group home setting. He is 28 years old and nonverbal autistic. We are continuing this week with our sibling series, and Christy is going to introduce today's guest.
All righty, we have got Morning with us. Her actual name is Morning Winterholler, and she's the second born of Alec's older sisters. She's 34 years old and has called Houston, Texas home for the last decade. She's married to Michael, and she's mother to three of Alec's favorite nieces and nephews, Jay, Wynn, and Kit. Morning is actively involved in her church and neighborhood communities. In her free time, she loves playing mahjong and tennis, jumping on the trampoline, which she's been doing for decades, and drinking Diet Coke. I'm going to have to also say my own little bit here is that she is extremely gifted at organizing events. She can do a huge birthday party with all the different things from invitations to favors to food, etc. And she has organized the Boo Bash for the PTO for her kids' school for the last 2 years. And she does an amazing Boo Bash if I've ever seen one. So there you go.
Thank you, Mom, for that lovely introduction.
You're welcome.
Morning.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, we're going to start off and just kind of get the ball rolling here by talking about your first memories of Alec. What would you say your first thoughts of Alec were, or how old were you when you kind of remember having memories of him?
I want to start by saying I think I might have the worst memory of my siblings. In general, I have a pretty bad memory. So, Mom, feel free to correct me if I'm saying anything wrong.
Oh, you think my memory will be good enough to correct you? Hey, I'll try.
Yeah. So I remember Alec as a little toddler, and I distinctly remember him watching Barney, and I think he might still enjoy watching it. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Is that correct?
He totally does.
Yes. Loves watching Barney, the big purple dinosaur, and he would have a pull ring around his neck. He would stand kind of with his legs wide, far apart. As is typical with autistic kids, he would rock back and forth. He would spin. He would not get dizzy. And another thing I remember about little Alec is his funny diet. In particular, because it gives me hope that my own children will outgrow their funny eating habits as Alec has done as an adult. And then just like on that note with his diet, there's a photo of him that I specifically remember. And I don't know how old he would have been, but it was whenever we lived in Flower Mound. Do you know the one I'm talking about? He's in like model pose with his knee up and he's holding a corn dog. And it's one of
yes. Yeah.
It's one of my...
He's laying on the floor.
Yes.
He's laying on the floor.
He's like in some funny little pose and he's holding a corn dog. And that just reminds me of Alec as a kid.
Yeah, totally.
Oh my gosh, I love that picture.
Making those Sonic runs with him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Sonic corn dog.
Yep.
Everybody loves it.
And it's so funny. I don't think he loves corn dogs now.
That's very sad.
No.
Yeah, he eats a J-Dog. He loves J-Dogs. So hot dogs with barbecue sauce on them or whatever that J-Dog sauce you would, I don't know. It's kind of a barbecue sauce.
So good.
He loves
so
that.
Good.
He loves their french fries, but I don't think he would eat a corn dog at this point, which is weird because he basically survived on corn dogs as
corn
a toddler.
dogs and chocolate milk, right?
Yeah, chocolate milk until he just said, no, I'm not doing chocolate milk anymore. I will not have any form of milk. Thank you very much. What about sibling guilt? Did you feel any sibling guilt? Meaning like, did you feel like, oh, why did he get afflicted with this and I didn't? Or any other form of sibling that you can
think?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember having guilt kind of surrounding experiences that I could have that he couldn't, particularly social things and the thought of like, getting married and creating family of my own, and knowing that, no matter how much he improved in his life, that just wasn't something he was going to have. And I think the guilt grew whenever he was able to finally express himself more, whenever he learned how to tap and kind of express his longing for having more independence and having more of a lifestyle that was typical to kids his age. But I think kind of handling the guilt is just reminding myself, and if you're someone in a similar situation, that like them not like me being able to have the experiences I have the normal, like having friends, as a high schooler, and now having a husband and a family, like me having those is not taking anything away from him. Like me having, he wasn't going to have them anyway. So I might as well enjoy them and be grateful that I get to have those experiences. And then also to help with sibling guilt is remembering that Alec is going through life in a different way, and he there's things about his life that we can be envious of as the like ordinary siblings too.
Right.
So like Alec, he never has to worry about money. Like what a luxury, So
yes,
we can be
absolutely.
We can be envious of him too over certain aspects of his life.
Yeah, that's true.
That bit of naivety of his, that like those cares and concerns of the world just are not,
those don't apply
on
to
his
Alec.
radar. Yeah,
good for him.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
We hope he's happy.
Yeah. I hope you're happy now.
Oh,
man.
All right. When he was growing up, what would you say your biggest concern for him was?
Thinking about this one, there are a few things that come to mind, but I think it was concerns over how the world would treat him, and just hoping that people would be kind to him if they encountered him in public. And also that the people who my parents hired and trusted to care for him would actually care for him in the best way and be honest people.
Yeah.
And then another more obvious one is just what would happen to Alec if something were to happen to my mom prematurely, and kind of what his life would look like with her gone.
Yeah. Valid concerns.
Do you mean that in that he would be heartbroken that I was gone, or who would take care of him?
Well, I think a combination of both, but it's that thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel it. I have 3 of my own kids now, as my mom said, and it's that feeling of like, no one knows their kid like their mom. And
Right.
I don't feel like it, I mean, it applies to autistic children, and also, just like, would you call them typical children? Is I feel like the mom knows them best, his care best. Obviously dad loves him, but you've been the primary caregiver,
Right.
as I have been with my children, and I'm a stay-at-home mom. And it's that feeling that really resonates with me of like, you know him best, and he loves you most. And I don't know, I think it would be hard on him, especially younger, if you were not around.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm glad I stuck around.
We're glad to.
we're trying to stick around for a while.
You're here for the long haul.
Well, I hope so. Alec had elopement issues off and on until he was probably about 9 or 10 before he stopped running out of the house and just disappearing. And we had this incredibly scary one where he was gone for quite a while out in our neighborhood when we lived on a lake, which was a stupid place to live with a child that has elopement issues, but we didn't know that before we moved there. So here we are. And I remember specifically the situation where he had been missing for 40 something minutes, and you ran down the street without your shoes on in an effort to try to find him. Do you remember that very plainly, and can you tell us about it?
Yes, I do remember. And we lived in a gate. So yeah, we lived in a gated neighborhood in Flower Mound. Yeah, backed up to Lake Grapevine. Not immediately to Lake Grapevine. I feel like we should clarify that there was a wooded area in between. But I had run through the neighborhood and I had made it pretty close to the front of the neighborhood. And as I was running and shouting his name, I kept feeling this prompting to stop and say a prayer that we would find him. But I kept kind of brushing it off because I thought, no, my time is better spent running and yelling his name and trying to cover more area to find him. And finally, I remember it was a home that was under construction, kind of towards the beginning I had made it to the beginning of the neighborhood. And I remember deciding to finally pause and say a prayer that we would find him. And in that exact moment, I heard shouting coming from the family car that had pulled up to that house saying that we had found him. So it's just a good lesson in not ignoring promptings, and also just like that gut feeling you can have when you are caring for someone, to just kind of, not ignore the promptings.
Yeah, I'm so glad you shared that story because I didn't remember ever hearing that part of it.
Yep.
And that's a super important part of it.
Yeah. So when I think about whenever in church, if prayer is brought up, then that's always a story from my life that I remember. Yeah.
And a lesson learned at a young age, you know?
Yeah.
That's sweet. How would you say your relationship with Alec has evolved over the years?
So thinking about, has it evolved?
I do think it has evolved. So of the siblings, I've definitely been the most removed. I lived in Utah for college, and before Alec lived in Utah. And then from college, I've moved to Houston, and I've lived here for the past like 10 and a half years. Whereas some of my other siblings have kind of stayed in the Dallas area or lived in Utah part of the time. And so I think in particular with an autistic sibling, the distance can make it harder to maintain a relationship, just because when you think about things like my other brother, Todd, like he was in town for work. So he came, and he's on a whim several times in the last few years, just come and stayed with me for a visit, or will just randomly FaceTime me on his way to work or whatever. Whereas like with Alec, if I want to like talk to him, sometimes I'll text him or FaceTime, always have to coordinate with whoever he's with, find out who's on shift, figure out their number. It's just a little bit more complicated of a relationship. So I definitely think our relationship evolving with like the distance between us, it requires more intention for sure. Mm-hmm. And I've loved getting to visit Alec in Utah. I try and do that whenever I can. But also thinking about this, thinking how distance does create, I think, a little bit of a wedge in a relationship with someone who is autistic. I'm like, it's also not a bad thing, because him living in Utah, it's been such a good thing for him and his personal development. And I think that location for him makes so much sense. And it's awesome for him that just like his other adult siblings, he's kind of living and creating his own life. And while that does lead to some natural like sibling separation, it's so cool that his life isn't stagnant. He's doing just like us. He's moving forward in a place that's so good for him.
That's great. And I want to remind everybody that like we've had some trips where Alec, like you were on his very first trip to Disney when he had requested way back when he was he about 12 or 13, I think, when he asked, could he go to Disney for his birthday?
Disney World. Yeah.
And so we went to Disney World with him. You and I went, and then Dad joined us for part of the trip.
Yeah.
And then also your family joined us when we were having a hard time getting the team to go out for his birthday.
For Alec's birthday.
California.
Yeah.
And so we had a super fun time with your family and him. We've talked about it before. He does better when there's a subgroup of the family rather
Yes.
than the entire family.
Yes.
Especially now that we've added 7 grandchildren to the family, that he does better with that. And y'all have been good to prioritize getting together with him
Yeah.
in different settings besides his home here in Utah.
Yeah.
And so that's been great to be able to keep your relationship current. And
Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like, yeah,
to
it's to maintain a relationship with him, it's so important to have the time together, because having a conversation with Alec is not the same. You can't have it in the same way. Like, you can't just easily pick up the phone and be like, oh, we're going to catch up for half an hour or whatever, So I think like being together, and it's also like getting together gets harder too, because sometimes for holidays, it's not even always like, oh, we can count on the holidays, because sometimes we're with my husband's family, or sometimes Alec is with someone else, which is great for him. But we do try and make that effort to see him. We love coming to Utah to visit him, or seeing him if he's made a trip down to Texas.
So do you feel like in those comments that you've made that you kind of answered our question about how is love different with him because of that difference in the way that he communicates? And like, a FaceTime call is hard. I find that whenever I do a FaceTime call with him, he's constantly trying to turn the phone off. Meaning,
yes.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with you. Boom, boom.
Sure.
End call. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Well, when I was thinking about how is love different with Alec, I was thinking about how Alec as a pure person just seems very, like, maybe this is a weird word to describe him, but pure. Like, he has good intentions. It's almost like there's something kind of childlike about him. Even though he's an adult physically, I don't know. I just feel this tender type of love for Alec that's different than how I feel about my other siblings. And when I thought about that question, I felt the need to share. This is something I've thought about Alec always growing up, and still think about to this day, is in our faith, like, we believe in an afterlife, and that in our afterlife, we're going to be relieved of all the troubles that have burdened our bodies here on earth. And so I've always loved that belief that one day Alec won't be autistic. He'll be able to speak, and how cool it would be to finally be able to just have a traditional conversation with him. And that's always a belief I've really cherished.
Yeah. I think that is one of our best beliefs that we have. And that gives us so much promise that we will be communicating with them in an easier way. The communication is, I mean, it's there, but it's still
it's difficult. It's not.
But can you imagine, because his snark and his level of wit that he can get through the keyboard, like, I can't wait. I can't wait to hear and the banter back and forth. Like, he's so fun.
He is funny.
Oh man,
it's going to be
great. That childlike, pure, tender love.
We're gonna flip the coin here.
Let's just go that complete opposite route. Do you ever want to punch him in the face, is how I've been asking your other siblings. And of course, I do not mean that literally.
Oh man.
Figuratively, do you ever want to punch him in the face?
Definitely. So
okay.
Alec is capable in so many ways. So sometimes, it can be easy to forget that he has to wake up every day and try and live life with a brain that works very differently than the rest of ours. So we just have to remind ourselves of that whenever we feel like we want to punch him in the face, but obviously we never do.
Right.
So when I thought about this, an experience that stands out in particular was it was in my later years of high school. I was either a junior or senior, and my mom had gotten a new mattress. And Alec at the time, I don't hear that he still struggles with this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
he still struggles with this.
Oh, with playing in it. Okay. Well, Alec enjoyed
not much, but he does.
Yeah. Okay. Oh man. Okay. Well, at the time I remember he struggled with, like, playing in his poop, like just smearing his poop. So my mom had gotten a new rather nice mattress, and she had the sheets and the cover off, I guess, because they were in the wash. And he went in and he pooped and smeared his poop on it. And I just remember there was tears, there was yelling. And I think everyone around wanted to punch him in the face in that moment. But it's one of those things where to us, it's just like, what the heck? Like, why would you smear your poop on this brand new mattress? But then we have to remember he is autistic. And even though he's really smart, just, some things are working a little differently up there. And he thinks that playing in his poop is fine. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
And I thought, why couldn't he have done this on any other surface besides this brand new thing?
Brand new thing. Like, couldn't he have done it with the sheets on? No.
Yes.
Right. No. Right.
He couldn't wait for the sheets to be on. Yeah. My brother was there and he said he heard me scream like bloody murder. I just screamed bloody murder. And he could hear me from across the house. And he walked in very carefully. What happened here?
What is going on here?
I think I started hyperventilating. I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. Anyway.
Oh man. Yikes.
What are you most proud of, Alec?
I think it's how he wakes up every day ready to work and put in the effort it takes to maintain the life that he has now. He lives a super fulfilled life. He does a lot of really cool things. And like I've kind of talked about this before, but there are things that come really natural to us that we don't think about, like staying calm or brushing our teeth or loading dishes in the dishwasher. These are all things that he's had to be trained step by step how to do. And I just think it's really cool that he has this really fulfilling life. It's a life he kind of dreamed of in the past about kind of getting to move out and have some, as much independence as he'll ever have. And obviously he's had a ton of help from you guys and other people that work there, but it's him ultimately waking up and choosing to put in the effort every day. And kind of along that same line, something I think that's really cool about Alec is that he chooses to work at things and like try hard things, even though he doesn't have to. Like he chose to get baptized at our church, which he didn't have to, but he was like, I want to do that. He chooses to do work at the temple for our church. He chooses to have a job. He learns like challenging skills. He goes skiing. He does water sports. He does all these really cool things that require a lot of hard work and putting him out of his comfort zone and having to kind of break things down step by step to learn how to do them. And it's really cool that he has the work ethic and makes the effort to do those things.
Well, that's a great point. Because a lot of that stuff, I think, oh, he's just enjoying doing this. So it'll be, but I do take that for granted now. Because during the time he was a teen and he was going through puberty, it was much harder to get him out of the bed in the morning. And I remember a consultant said, hey, he needs something to get out of bed for. He needs to have something he's excited about. And so we went and made that a goal and said, we got to find things that will get this guy out of bed in the morning by his own motivation and not our motivation. So that we could really make that work. In an effort to kind of think about Alec, what adjectives would you use to describe him if you had to just boil it down to a few?
Talented.
Okay.
Lovable. Funny. Hardworking and brilliant, I said. So talking about how, Alex had to kind of learn how to do these things that come naturally to us. Like on the flip side, he can do some things that are like so extraordinary. Yeah. Like how y'all learned, he can like, you can put a book in front of him. He can glance down for a second and you can ask him any question on the page and he can answer it. He like, whenever we learned that he could communicate via spelling, he knew how to spell. He didn't have to be taught how to spell. He knew math that he didn't have to be taught. Like he's just really brilliant in some unique ways.
Yeah. He was a spontaneous reader.
Yeah.
And I guess
that was cool.
A spontaneous mathematician too, in some regard.
And Spanish speaker.
And Spanish speaker. He can remember anything. Just like it reminds me of your nephew, Morning. Wouldn't Dylan be your nephew?
He can cousin.
cousin, sorry.
Yeah.
The way that he can meet you and he can say, morning winter hall, or your birthday's 6/21/91. That was a
Yeah.
Tuesday, you
Yeah.
know, and he just has all of these things inside of his head that were just poured in there at some point
Yeah.
Yeah.
when he
Autistic
was being
people are
made.
brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. Were
Very
you
cool.
ever fearful that you would have an autistic child? Like, did that ever cross your mind when you went to start having children?
Yes, it did. Um, and I think that growing up with an autistic brother helped shape all of us. And I think there were so many benefits to it. And I in no way see like having an autistic child, I would have in no way seen it as a negative thing. I think the aspect of it that made me more nervous was that when you are the parent of an autistic child, you're forever in that really intense caregiver stage of life that never goes away. And even now, like you have set up a home for Alec, but you still have to coordinate that and make sure that people are trained and that there's someone scheduled for a shift every day. The very like active years of caregiving that with an ordinary child fade, those don't go away. And so that aspect of it had me worried.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That I could see that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you saw things firsthand of how intense
Yeah.
it was whenever you were living in a home,
Yeah.
and sometimes it does still get intense, but I mean, it's definitely improved and lightened up.
Yeah.
But there's not a day that goes by that I don't worry, and I'm not thinking, and I'm not talking to Angie. I mean, Angie, do I go a day without calling you or texting you, or
We're on the
I
regular
try
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I try to give you a break, but
Well, how would you say having Alec in your family has impacted your family dynamic, whether that be like you and your immediate siblings growing up, or even the dynamic with your family and children now?
I think like with my family growing up, he's the uniting force for the family. He helped us be, I think, just more tolerant, more accepting of others who are different, taught us about unconditional love, taught us how to help, be a good helper in a family, because it required us all to pitch in various ways, maybe helping give him a shower one night, or watching him so my mom could go and dad could go do something. Or I think also having him in my family, it just made me have the deepest respect for my mom's role in particular, and the sacrifices she made as the primary caregiver. And then whenever I think about it in regards to my own family now, I love that Alec, he's a good way to show my kids how to love and live with someone who's different. We'll talk about Uncle Al and how he has a special brain, and they've seen people like out in public who look like Alec, or maybe they're stemming like Alec or making noises like Alec, and it opens up conversations we can have about it. And my middle child, Wynn, she's newly 5. The other day we were talking, and she has a friend who has a raspy voice. It's so cute. And she said, Mom, why does his voice always sound like he has a sore throat? And I said, Wynn, that's called a raspy voice. His voice is just like that. And she said, well, what's Uncle Al's voice called? And I thought that was cute.
Oh, that's sweet.
Aww.
And then Jay the other day, a big thing with the kids right now is they say 6, 7, but I don't understand what it means. But
oh yes, we know about that.
Oh,
just the other day, Jay in the kitchen was saying it, and I was like, "Stop it! It's so annoying." And he said, "How do you think Uncle Al would say 6, 7?" And that was cute. So
we'll have to ask him.
We'll have to ask him.
We'll have to ask him.
Okay, well, along that line, did you ever hold out hope that Alec would talk?
I did when I was younger. I remember therapists saying, like, oh, even if he hasn't talked by this age, there still might be hope that he will talk. Remember, Mom? And I can't remember what the age was, But I remember specialists or therapists, whatever, saying that, like, oh, even if he hasn't said words by age 5 or whatever, there's still hope he could. And I remember clinging on to that. I also remember whenever we were younger being told that mentally he would kind of just stop at 18 months, even though he would physically get larger. Like that was my memory, is like, oh, thinking, oh, he's in his mind, he's just like an 18-month-old. And it's like, it's crazy to look back on that and realize how wrong that belief was, because once he could learn to tap, we realized, oh my gosh, he's had all these thoughts all along and there just wasn't a way to get him out. Whenever we learned that, I was like, oh my gosh, how many conversations have we had in front of him where maybe we're talking about him or whatever and didn't realize, oh, he understood everything that was going on. And it's super cool. What a blessing that he can now express himself in such a way. And that we learned so much about how his brain works.
Right. And I will say this, he does love 12-month-old toys. If you think of true. He loves 6-month to 12-month toys.
That's
true. He loves them all the way up to about a 2-year toy. One of his favorites is that little bear that the little body parts make sounds, you can punch the hands and punch the heart, and all that. That's one of his favorite things to carry around. I think I've bought about 4 of those over his lifetime so far.
So I guess the professionals were not entirely incorrect. Some part of his brain has stayed 18 months.
No, I think it's that pure part of him that
the innocence.
He seems like a child in a way.
Yeah, totally. What did you think about having teams come into the house? Because we started the private home therapy when he was 2. Then how old would you have been then when he was 2?
I think that I was thinking about this. I think that we're 6 years apart. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Are we? Because I'm 3 years older than Todd. Is he 3 years younger than Todd, I think?
Oh, that's about right, because we would have been moving to Flower Mound and you had just had your baptism back at home at 8.
Yeah.
Back in Lubbock. I'm sorry. Not home. Lubbock.
Yeah.
Well, home to
my
me.
Home. And my home. My hometown.
And your home. Your hometown. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You were born there.
I'm the only one.
Hard to keep straight. Hard to keep straight. Yeah, you're the only one. Me and you. You. Anyway, so he would have been, so you would have been about maybe 9 by the time his private home therapy started. So we had a bunch of people in and out of our house. What did you think of that? Do you have fond memories of that? Did you hate that?
I have kind of mixed feelings about it. I'm really grateful to the people that have taken care of Alec over the years. They mean a lot to our family. I feel grateful that you and Dad were in a financial place that you've been able to provide Alec with the therapy that's brought people into our home. But with that said, these people are people. Some feel like family, and some maybe their personalities don't blend as seamlessly with the rest of us. And so I have fond memories of some of it and some not so much. Like Angie obviously feels like family. There's so many that do, but that's not always the case. Yeah, Jill. And sometimes it's still strange to me that whenever I go to visit Utah, anytime if we go out to eat with Alec, I mean, there's a few exceptions, but usually there's someone who's on shift with him. So he always has a buddy that's coming along, or if he visits Texas, he usually has a buddy that's with him. That's still sometimes strange to me. But I really appreciate the people that have, become part of Alec's life and gotten trained in how to care for him.
If it makes you feel any better, sometimes it's strange to me too. Sometimes I just want to say, can you just stay here and we're going to go somewhere?
Yeah.
Maybe you run the laundry while we're gone, and sometimes we do that. Because Alec sometimes will kind of shut his door and wave goodbye to the caretaker and say, I kind of need a break. I need to go out with the family here.
I know Alec has had these feelings too. I'm not alone in these feelings, but I can think of
he has people. Go ahead.
I can think of a particular one we had on a Thanksgiving vacation once where we ended up in
Oh gosh.
We ended up in a house together and I was like, you're not the vibe. Moving on.
No, that was not.
Bye.
Yeah, that vibe was not good. That was
No.
it was a
No.
it was a perfectly good Thanksgiving that kind of got a little bit ruined by
Yeah.
Okay, there was one time when you were shopping in the
oh.
great store of
Oh
Nordstrom
man.
when Alec decided, not that he really decides these things, but he all of a sudden had a seizure. Will you tell us about this experience? And you can go ahead and throw me under the bus because it was in part my fault.
Oh no,
Wait,
Angie,
I
you
don't
need to
remember.
not think about that. She
Wait.
didn't give him his
Oh,
medication.
Oh
She
my
didn't
gosh,
give him
I was
his
gonna
medication.
say. I was gonna say I don't remember that part of the story, so you'll have to fill
Well,
me
maybe
in.
we
But
didn't tell you that. So
okay.
you
well,
wouldn't be
no.
mad at her.
Let me tell you my side. I remember calling you because he has always carried his backpack.
Yeah.
Plug for backpack episode if you've not listened. He always carried his backpack and he had meds there
Yeah.
in his bag. We had made the swap. He had stayed with me the night before. We'd had, a great day or whatever. So I called you to say, I just realized I meant to like pause my alarm and I hit the stop button and then of course didn't get back to it because I always had an alarm on my phone so I wouldn't forget to give him his meds. I just bumped the wrong thing. Anyways, called to tell you and you didn't answer your phone. And he was in the middle of a seizure. So when you called back and told me, I just broke. I mean, I felt like the worst ever.
Okay.
But
Well, you're not the worst,
anyways,
G. It happens to the best of us.
The story for you, though, is
Well, and the
funny.
other thing to remember here is now he has a nose spray, which is very convenient to give him out in the
Yes.
middle of
Yeah.
Nordstrom or
Yes.
anywhere. But
Yeah.
back then, he had a suppository,
A great big one.
Yes.
a big one. That was a big syringe that you had to get in his butt cheeks, and then you had to squeeze the syringe and make this liquid Valium go into his rear end. Okay,
Yes, so I'm
take over the story.
So I had Alec. We were in the makeup section of Nordstrom, just trying to check out. I wish I remembered what I was buying, but I remember I was in the makeup section of Nordstrom at the mall. What's that called? North Park Mall in Dallas. I was about to call it the Galleria, but that's the one here in Houston. And Alec starts having a seizure at the checkout. And yeah, like my mom said at the time, if his seizure went past a certain amount of time, you were supposed to give him this syringe in his butt. Well, he's like 20 something. His butt's kind of hairy. So, I'm like, okay,
despite Todd manscaping
yeah,
him.
despite Todd's supreme arborist skills.
Yes.
It's still hairy sometimes. Anyway, so I'm having to scramble to give him the Valium syringe, and we had the nicest sales associate. She was so gracious, and she was so worried that his bottom was exposed in public. So she's like, "Oh, here, let me give you my cardigan." She takes it off and she like drapes it over his butt, and I have to give him the syringe, and I can't remember now because I was panicking. I was like, "Do we need like?" I had seen him have a seizure, but I had never like been the one that was on with him.
Doing it. Yeah.
And I was like, "Does he need an ambulance?" I want to say we called a family friend because I think it was like, I was like,
Yeah,
how
we
am I
did.
going to get him to my car? Did we call? I think Tanner Houghton may have come
Tanner
or was
Houghton,
called
yeah.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just remember the panic of like, oh my gosh, I have to get him to my car and his pants are down. And anyway, the lady was so nice. And then my mom later is like, did you at least slip her a 20 for her dry cleaning bill? And I'm like, I wasn't thinking about her dry cleaning. Like I was just panicking, trying to like save him and get him out of there. So anyway,
I was just so touched that she would put her sweater down.
She was
for
so
him.
sweet. And she wasn't, she didn't
Yeah.
think twice. She just took it off her back and was like, oh, like we need to cover him or whatever. She was so sweet.
How sweet.
I don't know her name, but thank you if you're hearing this and it sounds familiar.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
because
your kindness.
Yeah, because I got to the point where I was going, oh, can we move him over here so he doesn't have a seizure on that rug right there?
Yeah.
Because that one's going to be so much harder to clean.
Oh my gosh. No, he had one. We were putting his shoes on. And he was sitting
You're like, no,
on the
no.
Yeah. And it was like one that we could definitely see was coming.
Yeah.
Because his eyes would lock and we had warning on this one.
Yeah.
She's like, but can we move him over?
Can we roll that rug out of the way?
And so we did. It was fine.
And he wet himself, and then it makes the
Yes.
cleanup easier than you just
Yeah.
clean up the floor, you know?
Yeah. Well,
Oh my gosh. But in the middle of the Nordstrom.
in the middle
Okay.
of the Nordstrom, I was caught off guard, but I was prepared.
You handled it like a champ.
You did. That was.
And I don't know that I've ever forgotten to give him med sense. I'm just gonna say that. You usually only happens once, and then
No. Yeah.
you don't let that happen again.
Yeah, we
but-
don't let that happen.
Sorry to have put you through that morning.
It's okay.
Okay.
Oh,
What a-
man.
Okay, Morning. What about when he moved to Colorado to his first group home?
Mhm.
What did you think about all that?
I think I remember it being an exciting opportunity for him to kind of get out. It was kind of his chance to get out and live with some friends, which was cool. And it was kind of people he was familiar with. It was nice because it was leaders also he was familiar with, having done some programs for autistic kids up there already. I remember we did a sibling trip up there where all of us went.
Yep.
I don't recall though if he had been there for a while or if that was more. I don't remember the timing of that trip, but I just remember going up to visit and the visit making me a little sad, just kind of realizing the distance and also where he was there, it was kind of a little bit trickier to get to. Like flights could be a little more finicky and that sort of thing. And also at the time of that trip, I was newly pregnant with my first child and really sick. And I just remember kind of wondering, okay, what's my life going to look like with a baby? And how will that affect my ability to kind of come up and see my brother? At the time I was working and it was kind of more flexible, weekends are open, you can go do whatever. But I was having a baby and just kind of wondering how that would affect my ability to see Alec and kind of maintain a relationship with him.
Yeah, it was definitely harder there. I mean,
Yeah.
when I think now
Yeah.
about getting there, flying in was really difficult to get a flight that wouldn't get
Yeah.
canceled. And then during the winter, it's like it becomes super expensive to get there. And there's so many people going there to ski. And yeah, I felt like long term, this is not going to work. I don't think we ever
Yeah.
thought it would be a super long term thing, but that it would be a way to get our toe in the water and just kind of see how he did with that. And it was a great learning experience. But
Yeah.
what pressure, if any, do you feel about Alec's future now as everything stands now?
This is something I worry about sometimes, but I try not to let it occupy my thoughts too much just because I feel like it's so situational. Like we don't really know, will Alec outlive you guys, you and Dad?
Yeah.
We don't know. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. And so I take comfort in knowing there's a lot of people, myself included, that if the time comes, you guys pass or just are no longer able to care for him and Alec is still living, that there are several of us who are willing and able to help care for him and kind of take over. On the flip side, I know I've expressed concerns to you if that time were to come sooner rather than later, that me personally, I'm not really in a stage of life that I feel like I could fill the shoes, that you wear right now.
Right.
I have my own little kids and I can't you occasionally have to fill in a shift for Alec at his home if there's not someone available. I'm just not in a point in my life that that's something feasible, or you're up there for about half the year and that is not something I can commit to anytime soon. And I've expressed those concerns to you. But you guys have worked really hard to create a really beautiful life for him in Utah. And hopefully that's something that can continue on for the duration of his life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's our hope. That's what our plan is.
That's the goal. When you see people who are obviously autistic or have other special needs, do you tend to feel comfortable approaching them or interacting with them, having the experience of, obviously being out and about in public with Alec? Or how do you handle those situations?
Yes, I do. And sometimes I see someone and I think they're autistic and I want to ask, try and find like an appropriate way to bring it up. And then we'll tell people, I have an autistic brother. We were actually, I couldn't interact with this person, but I heard them at a distance the other day. We were at a local park in our neighborhood, and it's like surrounded by homes on all sides. And all of a sudden I hear the front door open, and like a boy comes out who he's probably like a teenager in his 20s. And he sounded just like Alec. And he had like his iPad and he was doing, I heard it and I like looked up. I was like, oh my gosh, is Alec here? And he was, you know, kind of scooting like Alec does, holding his iPad, holding his hand up. And it was just so sweet and so familiar. So yes, I feel comfortable with seeing people out in public who are autistic. And then I have worked with the kids in our church for a while. And I've taught a boy who he spoke. So it was a much different type of autism than with Alec, but I heard he was autistic and I was like, oh my gosh, like things are all making sense now. And so, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I find myself whenever I see someone who has some sort of special need, I always feel like a little bit apprehensive because I think, oh, do they want me to touch them on the shoulder, or will they be tactily defensive, or like, do they want me to approach, or do they not want me to approach?
Yeah, you're super sensitive to
and I'm kind of going,
just affair. Yeah.
But then I think Alec loves it whenever people say hello to him. And a lot of times he'll extend a high five before a person can even kind of know that he's a little bit special. And so I love it with those people that can just roll with it and immediately kind of plug in. Not everybody can do that because, you know, they don't have the experience of doing that, but he'll just, you know, someone will just high five him back. And I love those kind of interactions.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm not sure that I'm the one that would be giving the interaction, you know, and I should be really good at it.
So
what advice do you, were you going to say something?
I was going to say one thing Alec does sometimes to people in public that you would not receive well, Mom, if someone did this to you, was the sniffing. He'll go up and just sniff people. Get really off in their business. If you know my mom, you know that she's not going to like this if somebody else does this to her. But yeah, anyway, so I don't feel apprehensive about engaging with people that appear to be autistic in public. I also think though, like I always am like, if maybe things aren't going well or whatever, just never stare. That's something I always try and make note of, and also tell my kids, like, we don't ever stare.
Yeah. That's so hard because I know some of the time whenever I've felt really angry at people staring, and sometimes I'll just sit and try to hold their gaze. And it's, you know, you kind of feel mean when you do it, but you also feel like you're educating them and saying, you know, stop doing that. That's for sure. It's kind of, you're staring. Sometimes I'll say you're staring. Yeah. And then, you know, I mean, the sniffing thing is a thing, but I'm telling you what, I really don't like when we're out in public and Alec just goes up and either sneezes in someone's face or sneezes into someone's dinner.
Oh,
we had that happen before, and the family would not let me buy him it was Shake Shack. It wasn't like, you know, thank God it wasn't some fancy place. It was super expensive. But I said, oh, let me buy you a new meal. And they said, nah, it's fine. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that's not the way I would be going on that one. You're buying me a new dinner. I'm sorry. Your kid just sneezed into my face. So
oh my gosh. So, that's funny.
That's not my favorite thing.
I attribute my great immune system. I rarely get sick, knock on wood. Probably to I don't know how many sneezes I get in my face from Alec a year. Oh yeah. I swear every time I see him on one trip, it's like, oh, there it is. Thanks for my monthly dose of vitamin whatever Alec Jensen is.
You are very, very good natured about these sneezes you get in your face.
Yeah.
For some reason, he does not have any kind of awareness about that. So
sometimes they come out of nowhere, you know?
On that same note of Alec kind of not always having any boundaries with people, it just reminded me of something. It was the first time that my now husband came home to Dallas. He was sitting down and Alec just came. This is another thing Alec will do. Alec just came and sat in his lap.
Yes, I have the picture.
And he just rolled with it. And that was really, really sweet. Alec's friend Dylan, who's been referred to, is my husband's cousin. And so he had been around someone with autism, and he didn't seem bothered by it and just kind of rolled with it, which was sweet.
Yeah, we love that. We love it when people can do that, but it's kind of hard. You never know. Like,
yep.
What did you think whenever we would take trips? We tried to take trips from time to time, and we would leave him home with Angie's sister. Did you think that was mean, or did you think, oh yeah, our family needs sometimes a break? Or
No, I don't think that's strained or mean at all. Especially now that I have children of my own. Sometimes it's nice to take a trip without them, or take a trip with just, like, I just recently took my middle child to New York, and it was nice. So I think that's a very normal thing to do in a family, to leave maybe the youngest behind who can't participate in the trip as fully as the others. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Okay. All right. Okay, our last question, Morning, unless you can think of anything else you want to talk about. We wanted to know what advice you would offer siblings of individuals with autism.
I would say to try and include them in your life the best you can, especially like in social settings and in conversations. Sometimes, like, we'll be out to eat with Alec and you can get lost in just your ordinary conversation. It's good to remember to include them and loop them in. And then the other thing I would say is try not to feel discouraged whenever they can't participate in certain things, like an ordinary sibling can. Like Alec sometimes struggles with like a crowd. One of my favorite things is the Houston rodeo. And like, we've tried to bring him and had some not so successful times. So it's like things like that where you're just like, we're at the rodeo. This is fun. Like, what's your problem? And just kind of remembering that, like, for them, like, noises, crowds, little screaming babies, whatever, things like that can be hard for them. And that they're just trying their best to, with kind of an unordinary brain in an ordinary world. So having patience with that.
We want to thank Morning for joining us on this episode of Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. We have had some great sibling interviews. Next, we're going to try to get on Angie's son, who's the closest thing to a sibling that he's had besides his own siblings. And we're going to see if we can get him on soon. But we really appreciate you coming on, Morning. You had a lot of great, enlightening things to tell us, and we appreciate you and the time that you took. We know you're a busy woman.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That will be a wrap for today's episode of Piece by Piece. We love that you're here. Hope that you will help us spread the word and share the show. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook at Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. That's PIECE, Piece by Piece Autism Podcast. Until next time, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.